Because we are going to look at the lesson today in three categories. All right, just give me a moment. Okay, that's my face. Thank you so much for joining us today. All right, so we're going to be looking at it in three categories. First, we're going to be looking at what we can learn from 2020 to 2021. If you joined the last class where we had a conversation about the opportunities of 2022, the opportunities that people can embrace on Thursday, the last conversation that we had, we're talking about the fact that COVID-19, which came in the year 2020, was a pandemic that really changed the course of business. It really changed the model of businesses that people were operating. It really changed the way people embraced certain tools, the way people embrace certain business ideologies, certain business model, the way they embraced it. So it was really a time where people had to re-strategize. The people who had the idea to re-strategize, they really had to re-strategize. People in travels, people in tourism, people in hospitality, people in education, they really had to strategize in order to remain relevant in the field of business, because COVID-19 didn't just bring greater opportunities for people who were prepared for it. It brought a setback who were running business on an existing model. So they were faced with two problems: either re-strategize their model to fit into the new economy that was being created by the pandemic, or they had to go into extinction. So, but most businesses, they were able to use that era as an opportunity to scale their business, as an opportunity to scale what we're doing, their product, their services, to re-strategize, rebrand, and reinvent their services to suit the existing economy that we had, right? But most businesses who could not adapt so easily, who could not adapt fast to the problem, they had to suffer a break. They had to suffer several factors that brought their business, their sales down, right? So we're going to look at what we can learn from that whole pandemic story, that whole pandemic challenge that a lot of businesses, a lot of brands, they had to face in the year 2020 and in the year 2021. Then we're going to look at superpowers that everyone should have in 2022. We're going to look at the 5 superpowers that everyone should have in 2022. In 2022 is an era of opportunity where people who are prepared will be met with opportunities that will put them on the stage, that will give them platforms. So, but we're going to look at several factors, several superpowers that everybody who wants to gain relevance in the coming year, they must embrace. They must embrace. So that's what the second thing we're going to look at. Then we're going to look at business ideas that will generate you income in 2022. Business ideas that will generate you income in 2022. Then we're going to look at how you can build your brand or your business from ground up in 2022. So that's the direction where this conversation is going to head to today. So first, we're going to start from now. If you're just joining us, you can help us share the link. So we can have more people who are connected to the platform here today learning from what we're talking about today. So the first thing we want to look at, like I already said, is what we can learn from 2020 and 2021. What can we learn from that era of the pandemic, that era where globalization, people had to adapt to the borderlessness, people had to adapt to doing business not as usual. People had to adapt to doing things differently from the way it was done before. So what can we learn from that whole scenario? Someone said that if you can't learn from the past, you will not be able to really move to the future, because the future is merely a progression of the past, right? So if you don't understand several factors that led to the business changes, to the change of business models that happened in the previous years, you will not be able to really adapt in the coming years, right? So that's the first thing we're going to be looking at. What can we learn from 2020 and 2021? The first thing we can learn from that era is the fact that there won't always be certainties in life. Now, everybody at crossover night in 2019, everybody was so prepared. Everybody was so ready to move into the new year. We're so prepared. We went for vigils. People who are Christians, They went for vigils. Everybody was so energized to move into the new year, 2020, right? We're so prepared. But then we moved into 2020 and things were not, it started off in January. Things were not as it was expected, right? Things were not as expected. A lot of countries had to lock down their borders. A lot of businesses had to close down shops. Schools were shut down. Churches were shut down. Mosques were shut down. A lot of people had to adapt to the new way of doing business because, irrespective of the fact that people were not prepared for what was coming was going to come. I tell people that the fact that you're not prepared for an opportunity does not mean the opportunity will not come. The opportunity will come, but if it doesn't meet you prepared, someone who is more prepared for the opportunities will be able to harness the opportunities that come, because opportunities will always come. As long as we're existing, someone said something that as long as we're existing, the rain will always fall, right? But when the rain falls upon the earth, if you never sowed any crop on the ground, there will be nothing for the rain to fall on that will grow for you to harvest, right? So a lot of people were so prepared for what was going to come. There was so much certainty. People were ready. Their vision was drawn, and people were ready to move into the new year with so much certainty, right? But we got into 2020 with the pandemic. We got in and everywhere was locked down, right? So the first thing we're going to learn is that uncertainties is a part of human existence. Uncertainties is a part of human existence. So you must be prepared for the worst. I tell people that as much as you have to write your vision clear, as long as you have to put your vision into paper, you have to prepare for the coming years, you must also prepare for uncertainties. What happens if you fall sick? Right. What happens if there's another lockdown? Right? What happens if the money you were expecting to come, it doesn't come? What happens to your business? What happens if the people who promise to help you, who promise to invest in your business, who promise to support you, what happens if they never come true? What happens if the people you're working with, who are the backbone of your business, who are the backbone of your brand, who are the structures that you built your brand around, what happens if they decide to leave? So even as much as you prepare for the best of your life, you must also prepare for uncertainties. You must have a plan B. You must have a plan B. What happens? What are you going to do if business does not go the way you plan for it to go? What will you do? What is the plan B of your brand? What is the plan B of your what's your second strategy that you want to implement when that thing happens? So that's the first thing you must understand, that uncertainty is a part of human existence. So even as much as you prepare for the best, you must get ready for uncertainties. But because nobody can actually predict life 100%. You can just project into the future, but you can't predict what is going to happen in the coming year 100%. That is what we can learn from 2020 and 2021. So even as much as you're getting ready, you're getting your vision, you're getting your business, you're ready to initiate all the plans that you've made for your business, you must prepare for uncertainties. You must have a plan B for your business. You must have a plan B for your brand. You must have a plan B for yourself in case anything happens. So that's the first thing. The second thing you must understand that we can learn from the pandemic, that we can learn from 2020, 2021, is the fact that human wants and ways of doing things will always change. Human wants will always change. There will always be new things that will drive human desires. People will always look out for better ways of doing things. People will always look out for better services. People will always look out for better tools. People will always look out for better products that satisfies their demand. Right? So as a business owner, one thing you can learn is the fact that people will not hesitate to leave your product. People will not hesitate to leave your brand. People will not hesitate to leave your services if they find another service that offers them a better value for their money. You will always have customers who are loyal to you, but those customers will not always be loyal when there's another service that offers them better reward, better value for their money. So you must understand that as a person, as a business owner, as someone who is driving a brand, who is selling a product, selling a service, or initiating a tool for people to use, you must understand that innovation is a critical part of your product. Innovation is a critical part of your services. Innovation is a critical part of your business, of your brand, because human wants, human desires, the way of doing things, it will always change. As long as we're existing, as long as humans are thriving, there will always be innovation. There will always be inventions of new ways of doing things. So you must understand that it's not just enough for you to have your product out there. It's not just enough for you to give people services that really gives them value for their money. You must be ready to always innovate on what you already have, right? So you must always be ready to do that. You must always be ready to innovate on what you already have. Is a critical part of your. It must be a critical part of your business model. Innovation, innovation, innovation. It's just a matter of time. People will always change the way they respond to services. They respond to products. So you must understand that even though your business model doesn't change entirely, even though you don't change the message that you're trying to project with your product, you don't change the message you're trying to project with your service, you don't change the services that you're offering, you must always innovate new ways of communicating the value that you want to communicate. If you're an influencer, if you're a digital product creator, whatever you do, you must always find out new ways. If you were doing audio before, you must find out the fact that you must understand the fact that people want to look at more videos. So you must always create new ways of offering the same service that you're offering. You just have to repackage it, rebrand it so that it suits into the existing business model or existing business trend that is happening. So that's number two. Number three thing we can learn from 2020 and 2021 is the fact that technology is a strong ally. Technology is a strong ally, right? Guys, let me know. Let me know if you just put something in the comment so I know you are listening to me. Just give me a moment. Here, let me drop the link on the platforms. Just a moment. Okay. All right. Just a moment here. Or just give me a moment. Let me drop the link. I think I forgot to drop here. So we have guys joining from the Telegram channel. Okay, so we're good to go. Yeah, we're good to go. Number three is technology is a strong ally. Thank you so much, Ola Ayomide, for the comment. All right, number three is technology is a strong ally. Now, every day I come in contact with business owners, people who run a brand, people who sell products online. And one of the common things they say is, I'm not this technology thing. I really don't know how to do it. I don't know how to pull this. I don't know how to pull this. And it's really a problem for me. Now, I'm not a techie and all that word. Now, in this era of 2022 that we're entering, that is not going to be an excuse, right? Because if you look back at 2020, look back at 2021, you can see that most of the businesses who were able to survive the pandemic, most of the businesses who were able to thrive in the face of the pandemic were businesses that had a stronghold in technology, were businesses that had a better way of leveraging on technology, were businesses that leveraged so much on selling. A lot of people had to quickly adapt. A lot of people had to quickly put their product on the internet. A lot of people had to quickly offload their platforms from a physical platform to a virtual platform. That was good. But the people who were already there on the virtual platform, who were already leveraging on technology, their product, were people who were able to thrive, were businesses that were actually thrive in the face of the pandemic. So you understand that in the face of any unforeseen circumstances, technology will always have the advantage. So leveraging your product on technology, putting your brand, leveraging on technology in your branding, in your business, is a strong thing that anyone should do. It's something that anyone should be able to do. It's something that everyone should do, because technology is a strong ally that you can use to sell your product, that you can use to promote your brand, that you can use to sell any product that you have. So you must understand that technology is a strong ally. Number 4 is the ability to easily reinvent is a superpower. The ability for you to easily reinvent your product, the ability for you to easily reinvent your services, the ability for you to easily reinvent the way of doing things, your way of doing things, your best strategy, your business model, your ability to reinvent it quickly is a superpower. During the pandemic, we saw that was the time where TikTok, had so much traction, right? Because people wanted to do short videos with a lot of effect on it. They had a lot of traction. Then before we knew it, Instagram brought the Reels. The Reels that allowed you to do almost the same thing that you could do on TikTok. These guys, they understand that there's always a constant competition of relevance, right? There is always a constant competition of relevance. The person who has the most innovative idea of the time will always thrive the most. So they understand this. So what you must do as a person, as a business owner, as someone who runs a brand, is the fact you must understand that whenever there's a change in trade, whenever there's a change in the way of doing things, whenever there's a change in the business economy, you must understand that it calls for you to reinvent your product, to reinvent your services. You see the direction the world is going to, you study the trend, which is number 5. Learn to study the trend. You see the direction the world is going to, you study the trend and quickly reinvent your product to be relevant in the season. That is the things that we could learn. The people, for instance, Zoom was a platform that was so prepared for the pandemic, even though there was not so much usage of the platform before the pandemic. But at the time of the pandemic, a lot of people were able to really transit into Zoom. And we had Zoom being one of the most used platforms during the pandemic because they were able to reinvent on an existing business model. Zoom was not the first guys who were able to organize a platform where people can hold virtual events, where people can hold virtual meetings, right? They were not the first people, but they had a special feature allowing hundreds of people connect on the platform, allowing hundreds of people meet on the platform to have interactions, right? They were not the first platform, but they were able to reinvent on the existing business model. So you must understand that your ability to reinvent an existing business model, your ability to reinvent on a product, your ability to reinvent on a service that is already existing was a superpower in the 2020 and 2021. Then we had people who had an understanding of the trend, who had an understanding of the time, who had an understanding of the way the technology was moving, of the way that things were moving. It became an advantage for them. So you must learn as a business owner in 2022, you must learn to quickly study the trends. What is the direction that your niche is moving towards? What is the direction? You must understand that, and when you understand that, you must learn to quickly rebrand your product. A knowledge of how the world works is an advantage. You must have a knowledge, you must make research, understand the direction the products are moving, understand the direction that customer attention is moving, understand the direction that people's demand is moving towards. Don't just stick with a certain business model, with a product, that even if the product is selling, you must look for a way to reinvent it because people's needs and demand will always change with time. So that's the 5th thing that we can learn from 2020 and 2021. Now,